Hello everyone. Today we have with us Dr. B.R. Patil. He is the senior oncologist in the R.B. Patil Hospital, Hubli. This hospital was founded by his Dr. Padmashri, Dr. late R.B. Patil. And Dr. B.R. Patil belongs to a family of doctors and he has very successfully carried the legacy forward. Very recently, he operated a patient, a throat patient, and inserted the home voice prosthesis for him, and it has been really successful. Let's speak to Dr. Patil. Hello, Dr. Patil. How are you doing?
Okay. Fine, thank you. Fine, Santi.
It's a
Fine.
real pleasure talking to you, Doctor. If we could talk about your journey, I can see that it has been a very successful and satisfying journey for you. If you could please explain or talk about it a bit.
Well, it was in, I got myself trained at Tata Hospital in 88, 89. Then started surgical oncology in the year of 89. It has been a journey of, inventing and reinventing processes in head and neck, especially in head and neck oncology. At the time, we didn't have any fully trained surgical oncologist in this place. So most of the throat cancers which you're talking about were being treated by radiotherapy, and so the main thing. And we used to get a lot of these patients who had failed on radiotherapy. So that's how I started, picked up laryngectomy and taught myself how to do it. I had to go visit some of my teachers at Tata Hospital and learn all the techniques of laryngectomy. When we started, we didn't have the concept of processes. So somewhere in 97 that I came and I learned how to, though the processes were there, I learned in 1997 how to you put up processes and how useful it was. And then these larynx cases or throat cancer cases, as we call it, are usually in the lower socioeconomic strata. And because the voice is very important for these people, losing voice becomes a major hitch in their life, and livelihood. Not many of them are truly literate, and voice is the one that makes them communicable and makes them, earn their bread. And losing the voice not only is a traumatic experience because of loss of communication, but also can lead to loss of livelihood. So putting the processes in these patients made a lot of sense. And initially, the expenses, of the price of the processes was prohibitive, as most of them were imported. Even now, the ones that we used till recently are all imported, and were quite prohibitive for several people. Then that needed a lot of convincing for the patients to undergo processes, because the added cost of the processes to the surgery also was a prohibitive factor financially for these patients. Over a period of years, say some mid 2005, that's where I started doing TE punctures on a regular basis for all the laryngectomy cases, and try and convince them to have a processes. A lot of these patients used to undergo the laryngectomy and maybe 6 months later come back for a processes, because then that was the time needed for them for the finances to be arranged and come back and get it done. Putting the process itself was made a major benefit for these patients who had undergone laryngectomy, because then we are giving them back voice which was not only audible but quite clear. And they were able to go back to work and go back to more or less a normal family life. But the only cost was the main hitch. And about 6 months back, maybe 4 months back, I met Vishal, and then he had already sent me the processes about the home processes. And then he said, why don't you try one of these? And I happened to try about 3 months ago, just before the lockdown. I had a patient whom I had operated about 8 years ago, in whom I had put a processes which was imported. And these processes usually last for about 5 to 7 years or 8 years, after which they either become brittle or break, and sometimes they have to be replaced. So this person whom I had operated had retired and actually stays alone and nobody to support him. And I had to take the processes out. He did have some amount of voice, but he had the problem of, the tracheal puncture, some liquid he used to swallow used to go into his windpipe, and he has got a lot of cough while swallowing liquid. That was his main problem. He could, communicate, though the voice was not as clear as what the voice when he had a processes was. So I just called him back and put up processes. There's a video made of that. And he's quite happy about it. Now he can eat, swallow liquids, and he has got a voice which is much better. And the other thing was about the home processes is as good as any of the processes that I used so far. And the affordability is a real game changer.
Correct.
And I would make it very easy for us as doctors doing doing these surgeries for advanced laryngeal cancers. Now we can have, with that no extra cost, we can always give a patient a TE puncture and then put up processes maybe immediate at surgery or immediately after surgery. It makes a big difference for these patients who are going to lose their life, voice, or forever. Yes. And these patients who have already undergone processes are what you call mascots for people undergoing such surgeries. Yes. Once they listen to the voice quality and at least the acceptance of the voice by the public, by how they look at it, would make a big difference in convincing people to undergo this radical surgery as radical as removing the voice box. And sometimes
the scare part is taken care of when a patient who's already undergone the surgery comes and helps, right?
That's very true. When somebody has undergone and somebody comes and says, this is how it looks after I have undergone a voice box, 7, 8 years ago, and this is how I have already adjusted to things. Does convince them, because then we'll be at least be able to assure that we'll be able to get rid of the disease with as minimal, with difficulty in communication. That would be the major. The ease of communication is there. The old patients or the patients who have already undergone such a surgery would be the ideal people to convince the person to undergo laryngectomy.
So with the doctors like you around, actually the medical part has been taken care of very, very successfully. And I feel that the OM voice prosthesis has taken care of the financial bit also. So I would really request you, doctor, or if you could just say a word to your colleagues and your fellow practitioners about OM voice prosthesis and how good it is and how it makes your work so much easier for the financially weaker section especially.
I have used the OM processes, and I find the material that is made of is as good as any of the other processes that I've used. Number two, the engineering and the ingenuity of using several things, capsule, dissolvable capsule, the way it's inserted, using ordinary sticks rather than plastic film, which has been reformed. Using the minimal amount of expensive material to make such good is truly a very ingenious way of doing things, and I find it as good as any of the process that I have used so far. Actually, it's wonderful because then we are able to put these processes for anybody who needs to undergo a laryngectomy, and then I'm sure that they'll have a reasonable quality of communicable voice.
Exactly. Giving them a joy of speaking once again is a great achievement at your end also, I feel, right? Okay, so doctor, one more thing, like we all are aware of the current situation. Pandemic has taken over every other ailments, but I feel that if you could say a few words about the precautionary measures that these cancer patients should take while this pandemic still exists amongst us. A few words of
actually, cancer patients are a little more, they come into the little more risk category. you're talking about people who are more than 65, people who are diabetic, who are at higher risk, I would definitely put cancer patients also at a higher risk. So I would definitely advise people who are undergoing either being diagnosed or undergoing treatment or have recently undergone treatment to take extra care, not to those three pillars are always there: safe distancing, regular hand wash, and avoiding crowds. This will not change, and I don't think this is going to change anytime soon. I don't think the people who have cancer or undergoing treatment or recently completed treatment, they should follow these three things. They should, what I would put it as, reverse quarantine, stay safe, avoid crowds, use masks, and sanitize and wash your hands regularly. These three things are the mainstay to see that you are not and staying safe in one house is like more or less sticking yourself to one particular room, not interacting with other people, especially youngsters who come into the house, because youngsters, once now the lockdown has more or less been taken off, the youngsters have to go out for either to work or to college, or they have to go out to the market. They have the youngsters, I'm talking about people between 20 and 40 or 50. They have to be distanced from the elders or the people who have cancer, because these are the people youngsters who may get disease, but they may not become symptomatic at all.
Correct.
And these people can give to the senior citizens, and that may be life-threatening for them.
They can pose a serious danger to the patients.
For people at home. So even in people at home, the senior citizens should start using masks. The cancer patients or the people at risk, I would put it, should start using masks for their own safety. It is not that just when we are going out, talking of high risk patients to take care of themselves as well.
That's a great advice coming from you, doctor. Thank you so much. It was great talking to you, and we have got loads of value points from you. It was really nice talking to you, doctor.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.